Did they ever imagine things would end up like this? A major agency, a genius producer, rookies who looked like they might change the era. Everything began like a dream, but that dazzling beginning started to unravel so far too quickly, and before long, the girls found themselves caught in the middle of adult greed and power struggles. Surprisingly, this kind of things is not rare in this industry at all. Behind the glittering stage, who disappeared? It all begins with dreams and hope. The stages on TV are dazzling. The faces under the spotlight look almost impossibly perfect. I want to stand there too. That feeling is usually pure. There are always plenty of adults ready to open the door to that dream. But there are very few willing to take responsibility for how it ends. We only ever see the ones who debuted, the ones who made it onto the stage, the ones greeted by screaming fans, the successful faces that go from brand deals to award shows to world tours. But what about the countless trainees who never made it to that stage? The ones who never even debuted? Where are they now, and what are they doing? The NewJeans situation already tells us something important. A group's fate is not always decided by the members' effort alone. The Produce 101 vote rigging scandal told us the same thing. Some people debuted, others disappeared without even leaving their names behind. And that raises a question. At first glance, some people might say, well, trainees chose this path themselves, didn't they? And yes, the beginning may be a personal choice, but the ones who package that choice as potential, turn it into a contract and say, you can really make it, are ultimately the adults and the industry. So even if the choices is made by the individual, the system is the one that makes that choice heavier. Now, let's imagine one girl. Let's call her A. She is 15, a little prettier than average, a pretty decent singer. And after watching Blackpink on TV, she begins to dream, I want to stand on a stage like that too. She auditions for different agencies, and somehow she gets accepted by a major company. Her parents are shocked, but also excited. They sign the contract, believing this is where everything truly begins. But from that moment on, her youth starts moving in a completely different direction. After school, she does not stop for tteokbokki with friends. She goes straight to the company. Dance, vocal lessons, stamina, weight control, monthly evaluations. The memories of an ordinary school life, the small freedom of after-school hours, all of it is replaced by one word, practice. And here another question naturally comes up. But if she's talented, won't she eventually debut? This is where the idol industry becomes frightening, because it cannot be explained by talent alone. Debut does not depend only on skill. It depends on concept, timing, age, visual trends, company strategy, internal lineup decisions, and market conditions. Everything has to align. In other words, working hard does not guarantee anything. Luck has to be on your side too. As time passes, she grows more anxious. At 17, people say she still has time. At 19, they say there is still hope. But once she passes 20, the mood changes. Younger trainees keep coming in, and in the idol world, age slowly becomes pressure. Eventually, at 24, the company tells her, you worked hard. And that is the end. There is no debut at the end of her shining dream. So, what is left for her now? No real high school memories, no college degree, very little ordinary social experience. And this brings us to another important question. Isn't this just a failed challenge? On the surface, it may look that way, but this is different from an ordinary challenge. Normally, even if you fail, you still come away with something else. Education, work experience, social skills, a clear path forward. But the trainee system takes almost all of your most sensitive, more important years, and when you fail, what is often left behind is nothing more than an awkward, blank space. For the moment you leave the company, you have to start everything over. So this is not simply failure. You can't just call it failure. It is much closer to a structure that asks young people to risk too much, and then gives them no safe way back down. But the more cruel truth is this. Even debuting does not solve the problem. Now, let's look at the girl called B. This person was luckier than A. After years of training, she finally debuted under a small agency, She shot a music video, she stood on stage, she probably thought, oh, I finally made it. But once she gets to the broadcasting stations, reality looks completely different. Her team may even seem more talented, but the teams from major agencies get far more attention. Why? Because this market is not a competition of talent alone. Songs cost money, styling costs money, marketing costs money, virality costs money. So while the idol industry looks like a world of pure talent from outside, in reality, it is much closer to a system built on skill, capital, luck, and timing. And here comes another question. Then, if you at least debut, doesn't that mean you can make a living? Not necessarily, especially for idols from smaller companies. There may be almost no settlement payment even after debut. The gap between promotions can be long. And on their days off, some work at cafes just to pay the rent. So debut is not the finish line. For some people, it is only the beginning of a harsher survival game. At this point, we have to ask, who is actually responsible? And this is not a question with one easy answer. You cannot simply point to one thing and say, it is company's fault, it is the parents' fault, it is the individual's choice. More accurately, the problem lies in the structure. The industry sells dreams, but when those dreams collapse, the cost is usually paid by individual. If someone has spent years as trainee, should there not be safeguards for returning to school, changing careers, or receiving psychological support? If someone debuted as an idol, should there not at least be some protection for basic survival and future career transition? And that is the real issue. The industry still does not have a proper answer to these questions. So then, can we really say the system is okay? What do you think? Let me know in the comments.